Well, good morning and welcome back to the final fabulous segment here on Cityline. With me, I have two very recognizable gentlemen who are here to talk about the Tacoma Historical Society's Veterans Day in Service in Tacoma. And I couldn't think of a better person or persons to talk about this with than former Mayor Bill Baarsma. You are the president of Tacoma Historical Society. So good to see you again.
Thank you. Good to see you.
Last time I saw you, I was way up on a stage.
I know. You did a great job, by the way.
Thank you. And you were way, way back there. And I was like, there he is. I can see him barely back there. You brought with you Mr. Brian Kamens. You are the supervisor at Tacoma Public Library, the Northwest Room. Welcome back.
Glad to be here.
Great to have you here. So let's talk about Mr. Baarsma.
Yeah.
Let's talk about this Veterans Day service in Tacoma, its history, the role of Tacoma's Historical Society, and the program itself.
Well, we're the sponsoring organization. In fact, you could say that there would be no Veterans Day remembrance in Tacoma if it were not for the Tacoma Historical
Let's
Society.
just say it. Not you could.
Absolutely.
Let's say it, yes.
This is the 13th year that we've done it. Polly Medlock, who was one of the founders of our organization, along with Brian, who was a founder of the Tacoma Historical Society, essentially organized the first effort. We do it along with the American Legion Post 2, Edward Rhodes Post. They're kind of one of our co-hosts. And it's, of course, on the 11th day of the 11th month. Begins at the 11th hour, starts at 11 o'clock, and it'll be this Monday. And it's an event that I think is impactful, but brief. It's about a half an hour in length.
It's fun, but it's also moving as well.
Yeah,
Yes.
I'm tearing up watching this right
now. We have a special guest, one of my friends who's a naval veteran from the greatest generation. And I called him up the other day and I said, Joe Harnan, I said, you're coming, aren't you? And he said, I'm going to make it if I intend to be there. I said, when's your next birthday? He said, in a couple of weeks. I'll be 103. So he'll be joining us on Monday.
103.
Yeah. Now what we do, it's the park is terrific, and there's a large parking lot right south of it. But it's a long walk down to the staging area, and so we'll have a golf cart that will take people down that need, such as Joe, that need assistance, and then we'll have a tent and seating there, and a very nice program.
I love that.
It turns out, that the first mayor of Tacoma was a veteran, John Sprague. He was a recipient of the Congressional Medal of Honor, and our current mayor is a veteran of the U.S. Army as well.
That's right, Mayor Woodard, absolutely. Yep. And you're talking to a military brat, so I have lots of, my father was in the Air Force and flew, and lots of military experience in our family. This is a special year for the American Legion as the co-host of this event.
Yes.
Tell us about that.
Well, it's their centennial.
Yeah. And
they were established actually in Paris. The expeditionary group that was there formed the American Legion. Teddy Roosevelt, who visited Tacoma on a number of occasions, was one of the founders of the American Legion. And they were the driving force behind the enactment of the GI Bill, and very supportive of the medical services. And so this is their centennial, and it's a special year for them. Last year, of course, was the centennial of the armistice. So each of these years are special, and we'll certainly recognize them as our partner in this event. And we're very appreciative that they're working with us on it.
Absolutely. Mr. Brian, this is a big week. You are the supervisor of the library's Northwest Room, and you are also, as Mayor Baarsma said, one of the founding members and also a past board member of the Tacoma Historical Society.
I also used to select the speakers for the program.
Yes.
Which is how I met Bill way back in the 1970s.
You and Bill go way back.
But it was a great time over the years.
I love that.
Met all kinds of incredible people.
And your heart is still involved, and also all the activities. Let's talk about that Northwest Room. How did it come about?
Yeah, the library always collected some local materials, but in 1973, they actually started the Northwest Room. When the new library was built in 1952, the city of Tacoma took over the Carnegie Building for storage, but we actually got it back in 1973, which is the same time we started the Northwest Room. I've actually been there since about 1982.
Wow.
And again, just great experiences over the years. And
What are some of the most interesting things in that collection, since you're the one that eyes it every day?
of course, our most popular thing is the photography collection. We've got over 1 million photographs of Tacoma, the Northwest, Washington State.
What a bounty.
Many of which are online. You can go to our website, tacomalibrary.org, and you go to online library, and then you select local history and genealogy, and you can actually scan the photographs yourself. You can put a family name in or a keyword, and they'll come up.
A little genealogy there.
And lots of genealogy. There's a big house and building index that I started, which includes things that are no longer with us, demolished, so genealogists maybe can still get a look at the family home even though it's no longer with us. Of course, we've got city directories going back to 1885. We've got a great collection of high school yearbooks, especially Stadium. Lots of great, interesting maps of the city over the years. And a newspaper clipping file by subject, streets, sports, schools, and so on, going back to 1900s.
Oh my gosh.
And that's just tip of the iceberg. So
I was going to say, so when I asked the question, what makes it unique and special for a history buff, I think the answer is everything makes it unique and special. What's the most, or what are some of the most unusual requests that you've had, Brian?
Well, one thing was kind of interesting. We helped the city, SeaTac Airport, Seattle was going to rename it for Henry Jackson when he died.
Yeah.
Forgetting about the fact that we were the co-founders of the airport, and that Tacoma's always got to be in that name. So we actually produced documents and newspaper articles and so on for the mayor's office, proving that Tacoma's forever going to be part of SeaTac Airport.
So you are also a gatekeeper in addition to keeping our history.
And of course, Jack the Bear from the Tacoma Hotel was one of our most famous characters in Tacoma history. The bear that lived next to the hotel and would occasionally drink in the bar.
Oh, no. Kind of like Ivan the gorilla, huh?
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, in those days, you know, we looked at animals a little differently. Thank goodness we've moved on into more civilized ways of treating animals now than that.
Lots of interesting characters over the years.
I bet. So you mentioned that people can access the Northwest Room online.
Correct. Again, it's tacomalibrary.org. You'll see a little box that says online library. You click on that and you arrow down to local history and genealogy. You will see the photography index. You will see the house and building index, which can also be searched by family name or keyword. There's a big obituary index.
Ooh.
There's an index to people that have made the paper over the years, other than obituaries, like Mr. Baarsma, for instance.
Of course.
Several things indexed. If you're in the library building, you can also use Ancestry.com at no charge.
Wow, fabulous.
And that's really popular. We used to have to help people more with genealogy. Now they just sit down at Ancestry and look at it for hours.
There are PBS shows that you can watch people, you know, and it's very easy, and it is much easier than, as my mother did, traipsing through all of these towns trying to find things.
Yeah,
absolutely.
It's been tremendous.
What an incredible gift you are. Mr. Bill, let's talk about in these last 2 minutes, what's happening at the Tacoma Historical Society, current exhibitions and any events coming up?
Right, of course, I always promote Tacoma's History Museum, 919 Pacific Avenue.
Yes.
We're open Wednesday through Saturday from 11 to 4. Our current exhibit, this happens to be the 150th anniversary of the first Tacoma Public School, and so we're honoring what we'll call Old School Tacoma, and we have a list of all the schools that were a part of our history, plus many of the student newspapers, and in fact, we have a copy of the Lincoln News in 1983.
Oh my gosh!
And there's a feature story about Miss Vicky being their nominee for Miss Teen contest, and the Miss Vicky is Vicky Woodard's.
Oh, I've seen this.
Yes, and that was her given name.
It was.
And so when she became enlisted in the Army, she had her name changed. She wanted a more powerful name, and so she changed her name to Victoria. But when she was in Lincoln, it was Vicky.
I love that.
And although she didn't win the Miss Teen contest, she did win Miss Congeniality
of
2
course
years
she
running.
did.
Wow.
You know, in any form that Mayor Woodard's comes, we'll take her because
Yeah.
that's the reason why she's so effective. Is she's so many things to so many people.
And people didn't realize that was her written name. We've laughed about it. We've talked about that, and the fact that is in our collection is kind of pretty special, among other things.
Absolutely.
So come on down and take a look see.
Here's me dating. When you said Miss Vicky, I'm thinking, oh, Tiny Tim. I had no idea you were going the way of Mayor Woodard. I was like, oh my gosh, because some of us who have known her for a long time, we call her V sometimes from the Metro Parks days. But Miss Vicky, I'm going to have to whisper that in her ear and watch her just go.
Well, her mother is English, and I always thought that she was named after Queen Victoria. That was always my thought. And I even said that. I understand that you were named after Queen Victoria because your mother is English. She said, no, my given name was Vicky, and I just hated it. It was, I needed to change that name, and so.
Well, she is Vicky, V, and Victoria to everybody who loves her.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. Okay, so I want to say thank you so much to both of you. In such a global, ancient, sacred way, you continue to keep the history of Tacoma alive.
Absolutely.
And especially in a time where we have a lot of people moving here, a lot of people don't know our history. And for me, there needs to always be a lamplight to keep our history illuminated. And that is the two of you and the people who help you. So thank you.
Thank you.
So much for being here and for honoring our veterans that we owe a debt of gratitude to that we can never repay. So thank you so much.
TV Tacoma's done a lot over the years as well.
Yeah.
We did a great series on Tacoma neighborhoods
Yes,
a
we
few
did.
years back.
Yes, so thank you both so much. I want to give you a quick reminder that Dracula, the romantic ballet, is set to take the stage on November 9th and 10th at the Pantages. They're back in Tacoma, so you definitely want to get a hold of TacomaCityBallet.com for tickets. And that wraps up another great segment of Cityline. It's always a pleasure and a privilege to be in your home. We've given you some really great things to think about in this past hour, so please go out there, be a part of the tapestry, and above all, pay it forward. And when you come back, as always, we'll be waiting for you right here at Cityline. Take care.
Tacoma, that's my home, from the fires to the dawn. Tacoma, that's my home, yeah, Tacoma, that's my home. Tacoma, that's my home, place I call my own. Tacoma, that's my home, yeah, Tacoma, that's my home. Oh, you're from Seattle, oh, you're from LA, oh, you're from Chicago, but Tacoma's where you'll stay. Oh, you're from Seattle, oh, you're from LA, oh, you're from Chicago, but Tacoma's where you'll stay, yeah. Tacoma, that's my home, from the fire